So how to fill gaps in concepts for GMAT examination? Uh, See, start from the basics. That's the thing that most of us tend to overlook. We many times think that this is an objective type paper, it's a multiple choice question paper. Therefore, like I could basically plug in the answer options and get it. Plugging in the answer options and getting the answer is a smart way to get to an answer if such an possibility exists for the question. Let's say you have 31 questions. Easily for 10 questions, you can back substitute answer options and get to the answer. And that's how you should do for those questions. I'm not even saying no, because that saves you time, that helps you validate the answer. You get the answer correct and you move on. But that's not likely to happen for 2/3 of the questions. For 2/3 of the questions, you need to work on the concepts. And when it comes to GMAT, the concepts that they test are not generally, they would not give you a quadratic equation and ask you to factorize it and give the answer, right? That's class 9 CBSE math, right? They'll give you an x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0. They'll ask what is x and you can get the answer. But here, it's likely to be a question where you need to fathom that the curve that's given is a quadratic equation and what the roots of the quadratic equation would mean in the curve, and then basically make sense out of it. So that's how these questions work. Or if it's number properties, they'll not just ask you to find out how to compute the LCM. That's obviously an important component in arriving at the final answer. But what is LCM? When do you take LCM? Those are the things that are going to come into play. So start addressing initially the how for any concept, right? If you're looking at standard deviation, know how to compute the standard deviation. That's a 4 or 5 step process depending upon how you look at it. Once you know how to compute the SD, right, do 5 questions so that your how is in place. Then understand what does this SD signify. What do we mean by it measures the extent of dispersion of a set of data? What does a low SD mean? What does a high SD mean? Then ask yourself a question and seek answers to this. Is a low ASD good or a high standard deviation good? Once you got clarity on it, then check out, is standard deviation is a good measure, or like, can I understand how the standard deviation of a data set will be there if I know the range of the data set? Ask these questions, then start answering a few questions from the GMAT like syllabus, right? Look at places where you'll get GMAT data efficiency questions and statistics. Then understand how this ASD fits in. If you realize that for 2 of the 3 questions, your concepts are still not so strong that you're not able to answer them, revisit the concept. Right? So understand the basics, not just the how. Start with the how, obviously. Work on what, when, and what does it stand for. Then start solving questions. If you find that you stumble upon it, come back, revisit, understand that concept again, go back. Do it as an iterative feedback loop. Quite often, in about 10 to 12 hours, you'll be able to complete every single topic. There's no topic in GMAT Quant that requires more than 12 hours of investment, right? After that, it's practice, practice, practice. You would get to a shape where you'll know how to work on things. There are quite a few topics you'll be able to do it in terms of getting that comfort level of the concept in 3 to 4 hours. So it's not 12 hours for every topic. Let's say percentages, profit loss, right? Ratios. These topics, probably 2 hours is all that you'll need to get conversant with the entire idea about each of these things. And being generous when I say 2, many times you'll be able to do it under 2. Right. Number properties, inequalities, standard deviation, statistics, mean, median, those concepts, that interlinkage between those, right? Geometry, particularly coordinate geometry. These are topics which will take you 12 hours each. So talking about 6 to 7 topics which will take 12 hours each, and many others will be sub 3 hours for you to do. So be very intense about understanding the core before you move on.